I think the next 12 months going to be quite exciting for the wind energy sector in Vietnam. There's still quite a lot of work that needs to be done in the field of offshore wind, but Vietnam has huge potential for offshore wind. I really believe in the potential of Vietnam markets. Honestly, I think that Vietnam market has a huge potential for not just for the next 10 years, but even for longer than that. And the government in Vietnam have a very strong commitment toward net zero and toward energy transition.
The wind industry in Vietnam is currently experiencing a significant surge forward. Electricity generation in the wind energy market is projected to amount to 1.04 billion kilowatt hours in 2024, and an annual growth rate of 9.94% CAGR between 2024 and 2029. In just a few short years, Vietnam has transformed into a regional powerhouse for wind energy. The country's wind power capacity has grown at an astounding rate of over 100% annually since 2018. This rapid expansion has boosted Vietnam's green credentials and become a significant economic driver, creating tens of thousands of jobs and attracting billions in foreign investment. In this episode of Staffing Strategies Simplified, NES Fircroft's Phoebe Nguyen, Business Development Manager in our Vietnam office, is speaking to Bui Vinh Tang, General Manager of GWEC Vietnam, about the current landscape of wind energy in Vietnam and the exciting developments. We're looking into the country's current developments in legislation and regulations, and how those changes drive innovation and new projects in the region. We also discuss how this rapidly shifting market will open significant regional opportunities in the near future.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Phoebe, Business Development Manager from NES Fircroft. Joining us today, I would like to invite Mr. Bui Vinh Tang, General Manager of GWEC Vietnam. And GWEC is the Global Wind Energy Council, which provides a forum for the entire wind energy sector at an international level. Good afternoon, Mr. Tang. Thank you very much for joining us today. Can you share a little bit about yourself and your role in GWEC?
Hello, Phoebe. Yeah, so my name is Tang. I am country manager for GWEC in Vietnam. I've been working in the renewable energy sectors for the last 8 years now, and been working for GWEC for 3 years.
Okay, to start, how do you see Vietnam's wind energy sector evolving in the next 12 months?
I think the next 12 months going to be quite exciting for the wind energy sector in Vietnam. As you can see, the government of Vietnam is moving quite fast in the last few months in terms of policy. The PDP8 implementation plan have been reproposed by MOIT to the government by the end of June, and is now waiting a review or feedback or approval from the government. And with that, once it is approval, all of the onshore wind project in that document can be kickstarted and to start to be developed. On the other hand, the government has just issued a DPPA mechanism in the early July, so just a few days ago, and it has been received very positively on through the market. Everybody think that it is a very good move from the government. It's going to open the floor for the energy buyers to have access to green electricity to fulfill their commitment, their net zero commitment, which is going to make the market for renewable in general, but also for wind in Vietnam to be very exciting. Regarding offshore wind, the offshore wind pilot mechanism have been proposed by MOIT in April and is still in the working process by the government, with the final target for it to be a National Assembly resolution. I think there's still quite a lot of work that needs to be done in the field of offshore wind, but Vietnam has huge potential for offshore wind. Also, the country's demand for electricity is increasing very fast, which makes the market for offshore wind in Vietnam is extremely potential as well.
I agree. I see that PTP age is a really positive step for renewable energy in general and the wind sector in specific. So mentioning about PTP age, we both know that the PTP age went through a variety of changes without concrete application so far. When do you see its implementation and how easy do you think it will be?
Mm, as I have mentioned in question above, so the PDP 8 has been approved by the government last year, and this year the government is now MOIT is now working on the implementation plan. In that implementation plan, there is a project list. Uh, uh, Most of the onshore and nearshore wind projects. So we are waiting to see the final approval from the government on that document from MOIT. Once it is approved, it is the legal basis for all of these projects to be started again. And by started, I mean that when it is approved, the provincial governments who can start the investor selection process for this project, and then those projects can start to be developed. I expect it gonna happen in the next few months, very very soon. Even though the market in Vietnam doesn't have the feed regime anymore, and now we have to move into a new process to identify the tariff or the price, um, and that still needs some guidance from the government. But I think that it is not a too much of a big challenge for the market. Because the demand, just as I said, the demand for energy in Vietnam growing very very fast, and the government know that, so they will have to work very hard to make new generation to be added into the system.
Agree. I see that. So the concrete application or the approval from the government may take some time. So I would like to ask from your opinions that what solutions will you propose for the Vietnamese wind energy sector to become more attractive to FDIs?
Well, the Vietnam energy sector, especially the wind energy sector, has already is a very attractive market for the FDIs. One of the proof I have for that is most of our member, most of the GWEC member who are international companies are active in Vietnam. I think we have about more than 50 or 60 members already active in Vietnam, from the developers, the OEM, the service provider, and other companies on through the supply chains. Vietnam is a fast-growing economy with the energy demand growing very, very fast. On average, about more than 10% over the last few years, of the last 10 years actually. And the government expect that that is the speed Vietnam going to grow from now until 2030. So the demand here is very, very high. Even though the wind energy sector have been slowed down a little bit since the end of 2021 now, after the end of FIT regime. So what can the government do to make the market become even more attractive to APIs? I think one of the first things that is policy. The government should have a clear long-term policy roadmap with sustainable target. It will help the company to have the confidence into the market, and start making long-term investment into the market. And another thing is Vietnam need to attract international finance into the energy sector, but also into the wind energy sector. One of the key issue to make that happen is to make the PPA being bankable for international standard. The government already makes the first move into that by the issue of circular '07, which come together with a PPA template. That template right now only apply for the wind for LNG and thermal project. The wind project still apply the previous template for PPA. So the government will need to come up with a new PPA template, and it should be bankable to attract international finance community, and come with a clear policy roadmap. It should be a clear permitting process, and everything need to be everything should be transparent and build that project fast and also in a sustainable way. Yeah.
Yep. Although there are still some challenges, by implementing these solutions, I think that Vietnam can create a more attractive environment for FDIs and facilitating the growth and development of renewable energy sector in the country. So, apart from Vietnam's situation, we're also curious about the case studies from other countries in the regions. What are the current challenges in the industry regionally, and how are the major influences in the sector reacting?
Mm. One of the key challenges for the green sector in the region, but also globally, is the supply chain bottleneck. Um, for a very long term, the price for turbines and also price for building a wind farm have been um, getting lower and lower, to the point that many OEM have called it just a race to the bottom. But however, we are seeing some kind of market correction that happened in the last 2 or 3 years now, with because of COVID and also because of the war in Ukraine. Well, those are not the only reason, but those as one of like some of the reasons that make the supply chains for offshore for wind, for both onshore and offshore, to be more expensive. uh, we see the price of raw material increase, which makes the price of turbines increase, price of components increase, and also we see the increase of the interest rates of most of the government in the world, which make the cost of debt for project to increase as well. So that creates a lot of challenge for uh, the, the the wind players all around the world in the last 2 3 years. But from the perspective of GWEC, we think that it is just a market correction, and eventually, in the long term, with the development of technology, the cost of wind will continue to uh, to get cheaper again, but it will not be at the high speed as it used to be. It means that the OEM will not probably will not do a race to the bottom anymore. That is one of the issue of the wind industry in the region, but also globally. Another, well, I'm not going to say that this is a challenge, but it's just a change of the landscape of the wind industry that is starting from like before the year 2020, 2021, especially before the war of Ukraine. We see that the developer and the OEM are really aggressive. They have to try to find market, try to find project everywhere they can. They try to bid on a lower price, try to compete with other to get projects. Um, but since 2021, 2020, we see that a lot of government have now increased their target for renewable and including wind. The concept of energy security have been more and more important to many uh, governments all around the world, and this this reason, APAC reason is one of them. So we see that uh, the developers, the OEMs, and other service providers now actually have more options to choose. And they will go where the market is more suitable for them. And we see that uh, it it become the market is now in a landscape of becoming of a seller's market, a little bit of seller's market. So it means that the company have choice, and actually government need to start be worried about their competition with other government in terms of attracting investment, in terms of attracting supply chain, attracting developers into their own country to build products. So those are the some of the key changes that we are seeing happening right now in the wind industry in the region, but also in the world.
Yes, absolutely. I can see the cost and politics are some main factors in influencing this industry. And now I would like to have like last question for you from your insight. What advice would you give to the foreign investor when looking at the Vietnam wind market?
Looking at Vietnam wind market, I think the well, this is not an advice, but I think most company already know this. Be patient. Right now, the policy landscape in Vietnam has been a little bit slow in movement. But once the government have resolved all of this policy issue, the project can happen very fast. So the company should be patient. They should have a trust in the market, like I do. I really believe in the potential of Vietnam markets. Honestly, I think that Vietnam is a huge. Vietnam market has a huge potential for not just for like 10 years, but even for longer term than that. And the government in Vietnam have a very strong commitment toward net zero and toward energy transition. So this is Vietnam really is a very important market for the reason. So the company should be patient, and in the meantime, the company should start building good relationships with local stakeholders, including the communities, the authority, getting used to the local culture, business culture, and also the rule and regulation. And they should really develop a good local team. It's very difficult to succeed in Vietnam if you don't have a good local team with good local employees. And I definitely believe that the market in Vietnam will happen, and will continue to be developing again. And the country needs a lot of FDI. So there's a lot of opportunity here for the FDI company.
Yeah, definitely. I believe that Vietnam is a huge potential for renewable energies in general and the wind sector in specific. Um, Fantastic. I think it's all the question I would like to ask for today. Once again, thank you so much for answering all of my question, and you gave a lot of insights for us to understand more about the challenges and also opportunities of the wind sector in Vietnam. Once again, thank you for the podcast today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
This has been Staffing Strategies Simplified, with our host, Phoebe and Nguyen, and Bui Vinh Tang, the General Manager for GWEC in Vietnam. We hope you've enjoyed this episode and its many key points about the exciting developments and opportunities in the wind industry in Vietnam. If you'd like to learn more about how you can get involved in the wind industry, please visit our website at www.nesfircroft.com or follow us on social media. Thanks for tuning in.